Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone, the classic Twilight Zone. It is Season 1, Episode 16. It is called The Hitch-Hiker. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. I want everyone to know that right before we started this, Tara was had her face up in the camera, and she was going like this, and checking her nose, and she's like, "It's something on my nose is dirty," and she was using the camera like a mirror. And then we were about to start, and she says, "You know what? Give me a minute." And she left to go and wipe her nose. It was a whole drama. 5 minutes of my life went past.
I'm going to be on camera. What's 5 minutes of your life? I had to fix my face.
Your face was perfectly fine before.
No, I had a spot on my nose.
It's fine.
Well, it's fine now because they took care of it. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Gosh.
So, second thing I want to talk about here, something curious about this episode, is the weird, coincidence, I guess we'll call it, that this episode this is the one we landed on this week.
Let's hope not too many coincidences.
No, let's hope it ends here. But so Tara is about to literally in a few days' time move state, and she's driving across country. In fact,
from the East Coast to the West Coast to California,
specifically Los Angeles, which was the destination in this episode, and which actually the first thing I want to talk about the episode actually, right? So it's just weird that this episode about this person driving from from New York to LA, and her turmoil along the road. It was impossible not just to think, hey, that's funny, Tara's literally about to do this. Let's hope nothing that happened in this episode befalls her.
Not the episode I wanted to watch this week.
That's
maybe next week would have been fine.
Yeah, after the trip. Yeah,
I would have been in LA.
Yeah, after the trip would be fine. Joe, the first thing I was thinking though is because the episode starts and she's talking to a mechanic who's coming out to fix her up. She's had a flat tire or something, I don't know. And she's driving from New York to LA, which is a multiple day trip, right? That's not a 1 day thing. And there is nothing in the car. There is no bags. There's no nothing. She's dressed like she's just out for a summer walk. She's not it looks like someone out for a Sunday drive that's going to take 30 minutes. She's got the summer hat on. That's this is bullshit.
I guess, but cars back then were enormous, so she probably has a trunk just loaded with shit.
Maybe. But hey, that was the first thought I had during the episode. But yeah, so the premise of the episode is she's driving from New York to LA, and somehow she keeps passing by the same hitchhiker. This hitchhiker's always got his thumb out, and he's kind of creepy looking. And even though she drives past him and she's driving for several miles, she'll then pass him again. Something fishy is going on. Something Twilight Zone-y, you might say, is going on. And that's the basic gist of the episode. So before we get into it any further, I will ask the question. Tara with the wonderful nose, which I do appreciate you took the time to fix.
Thank you.
I do want to point out that she took a good minute to explain what she was doing, and there was just a minute of her sort of scrunching her nose up at the camera, and I was like, well, I might join in. Is this meant to be a dual activity? Tara, with the nose.
Yes.
Did you enjoy this episode of the Twilight Zone, The Hitch-Hiker?
Well, despite its ominous message, I did like this one. What about you?
I liked it. I don't think it's one of the stronger episodes of the season, mainly because the twist, I guess, but it is a twist, but the twist felt like a fine twist, but not an amazing twist. Does that make sense? When it revealed what was going on, I was like, yeah, okay, that works. I wasn't oh.
I think this works pretty well as a short film. It seems very it seems almost like the least Twilight Zone episode we've watched so far. I think it has to do with like her narration because she
Yes.
narrates like the whole episode,
Yeah,
her thoughts, which is unusual in this from what we've seen so far.
she does it a few times, yeah. And it's like, oh, there's that hitchhiker again. Like, how could I see
Mhm.
him again? I keep passing him. Something weird's happening. I can't stop anywhere. He keeps following me. He'll get me no matter what.
Yeah, it's
Which,
Michael Myers.
yeah, he's Michael Myers. Actually, no. This is the show's second interpretation of death.
Yeah,
Because we had the one way back, episode 2. We had the mayor from Jaws who came to see
that's right.
the salesman, or the
Hmm.
flogger, if you will. Actually, I should explain that. I learned recently that to flog, in the context I meant it there, is a British thing. Flogging is the selling of something, much like someone on a street corner would do. You're flogging something; it means you're selling it.
I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I only know that
It's a very
because
British term.
I said it in front of Tim, and he's like, he thought I meant I was like, because you flog a dead horse, right? He was like,
Yeah, it's like a lashing or
yeah.
something.
So he thought I was lashing something, and I was like, no, selling. That's what I mean. I mean, we still use flogging for flogging a dead horse. That's still a phrase, but different
Yeah, that doesn't
context.
translate overseas.
Yes. Uh, but yeah. So we had that episode, and then this episode, because the twist is, of course, at the end, is that she's actually dead, or she's dying, and she died back when the mechanic was helping her out. She actually died in that incident. And if you actually go back to that first episode, he does say something like, "Wait, you were going that fast on this road with this heat, and like, man, it's a wonder you're not
Yeah,
calling
she had
a
a tire blow out while going 65 miles per hour.
yeah, it's a wonder you didn't need to call a hearse." I think is what he said.
Yeah,
Um, so it is there. It's seeded at the start. Um, and it's because she tries to phone her mother, and her mother's not there. She's in hospital with, she's distressed because her
grieving.
daughter died, and that's kind of the moment where we realize. And she goes back into the car, and the hitchhiker is like, it looks like you're going my way, and she's like, yes, I guess I am, and that's kind of thing. But this
Hmm.
was the thing. It's like, so I had seen this episode before, but I'd forgotten it for the most part. Um,
Me too, but I have to say that I think the twist I saw coming pretty early on. Like once
well,
they
sure.
mentioned that she could have died on the on the road, like that just kind of I remembered that for the whole episode because I thought that's probably gonna mean something
Yeah,
later.
it was that, and also the idea that she was avoiding something. Like, it's like it wasn't that the hitchhiker was this creepy ghost or entity or something like that. It was more, this is something that she's not willing to face. I always get that impression. Like, whether or not it was
Right.
like she's not facing death, or it's like something from her past she's not facing, or something. But it was always something she wasn't facing, as opposed to, no, he's a serial killer who's trying to get to her. Like, it never felt like that to me.
Right. Well, she's a woman who's traveling alone. Like I imagine she would never consider picking up a
We'll have to
hitchhiker.
imagine it in a few days.
Right. If I were in her shoes, in theory,
In theory.
I would not do that.
Yes.
However, she does end up picking up a hitchhiker, or not really a hitchhiker, but giving somebody a ride who's
Yeah.
going her way. And I think it's a cool contrast to see that she won't pick up this older man who looks very non-threatening, but she'll pick up a younger guy in a uniform because it's supposed to make her feel safe.
Well, yeah, because that's the whole point, yeah. Because she only wants to, she offers him a ride because she's scared of the hitchhiker. She's like, no, I want someone with me. You're going to San Diego? I'm kind of going in that direction. Yeah, come on, like, I'll drive you all the way there. It's fine.
Take you all the
Um,
way to the pier.
yeah. So I'd forgotten the ending. So just sticking on this idea that, like, it's really weird that we're getting this episode right before you go on this trip, and we record these a little bit in advance. So by the time you see this episode, we'll know if Tara survived. But um,
Yeah, don't put this episode up if I don't make it.
oh, of course not. I won't. No, I'll feel too bad because all the jokes we're cracking will play really badly. Um, but when it got to the end and it revealed that she was dead the whole time and she actually died on the road, I'm like, because I was thinking throughout that, oh, well, wherever this goes in the second half, it'll make it really different from what, whatever Tara's doing in a few days' time. But there was no, she just died in a car accident. I'm like, yeah, this is really morbid though. Like,
Yeah, we
If
don't have
I'd
to talk about that anymore.
if I'd remembered this was what the episode was going to be, I'd be like, you know what, Tara, we can wait
I'm
until you've.
already so stressed because I have to drive across country alone with two animals with me. And now I have to have this ominous warning. It's so poorly timed.
It is very poorly timed. I'll be honest, if I had remembered this episode well enough, I'd have said, you know what, we can just wait and do the next Twilight Zone after you get to LA. I honestly would have. But here's the thing.
I'm not like superstitious or anything. It's clearly just a coincidence.
Oh no, no, I mean, yeah, I'm not superstitious either, but it's just the idea of having it in your head. Like, there's a reason why when you're watching movies on planes, they don't put on movies, or they at least edit out scenes of planes exploding, because you just don't want to see that when you're on a plane. Right, you're in a bad place. You don't want it. You're vulnerable. Okay. So, but hey, you watched, because this is the thing. I didn't watch it first. Tara watched it first and said it's insane that we watched this episode right before I do this, and I was like, okay. And then I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, this is insane. This is really insane. But we'll get off that because we need to talk about the episode on its own merits. So. Yeah, so there's a couple of creepy scenes. I like the one where she's at it's just before she drives off and gets to the crossroads with the train. There's a scene where she's just stopping because there's some construction work going on, or some road works happening.
Right.
And the hitchhiker just sort of like creeps up behind the car and just kind of like knocks on the window. And because we actually get to hear him speak, I thought he might be silent the whole episode, but he does speak once or twice. But yeah, so this is death. But yeah, we get the dramatic scene at the crossroads where she's stuck in the track.
Well, you can't have a movie about being in a car without having the railroad scene.
Yeah, this was Duel all over again, wasn't it? This was.
I thought of Duel so much while watching this. Even the narration made me think of Duel.
Actually, looking back at this scene with the context of the ending is quite interesting, because her car seemingly breaks down for no reason, which is fine once you realise it's not actually real. The only question then is the people she interacts with, like, on the way. Like, there is some kind of murky she's still around kind of rules here. But, I guess it's because the final line of the episode, actually, from Serling, when he goes to his narration, he's like, what's her name? Nan Adams, a woman, she was traveling from New York to Los Angeles. She never made it. She took a detour in the Twilight Zone. I was like, that might be the best outro line he's had.
Yeah.
Maybe the best one he's had.
I actually thought it was more like a Jordan Peele one. I don't know. It kind of stuck out to me.
Really? Yeah. I like that one.
I think this is... I like it too, but it really like stood out as this is what the writers for the new Twilight Zone wanted it to be. So I think they took a lot from this style of closing narration.
Okay, sure, but this one was better.
Oh, yeah.
Still better. I'm standing by that.
What about this show isn't better?
True. I guess, I don't know, it's black and white.
Well, you can watch the black and white versions now on CBS.
Oh, true. Mm-hmm. Oh, the new one, you mean?
Yeah, they just released them.
Yeah, this one was always black and white.
You're right.
Which
and shorter.
Yes.
And better written.
Better written, yes. Which I actually have to ask a question, though, because people might not realise this, but lighting scenes, like as a director of photography and the lighting crew, lighting for black and white is different than lighting from colour. So I have to wonder, like, I assume they didn't actually shoot for black and white with the new one. They've literally just turned the colour down.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then it won't be that great. Because one of the things you have to realise in black and white is that red and black look the same in black and white.
Yeah.
So you have to account for that in your lighting and how you dress people and how you... But anyway, so this scene in the train, it's like it breaks down out of nowhere, but once in the context of like, well, technically she's dead, it's not real to an extent. This is like she's almost like dying again. This is showing her fear of death.
Yeah, it's kind of like the episode where everyone is starting to disappear almost, where the astronauts are disappearing one at a time, and then like suddenly nobody remembers who they are or they never existed. But in that moment, they were interacting with people.
Sure,
I kind of thought about that also.
Yeah, I can see what your comparison there. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, I thought it was well shot, this scene, actually. It was surprisingly action-packed for an episode of Twilight Zone from the 50s, or the 60s
Yeah,
now.
I agree.
I mean, it was mostly in the editing. It was because, I mean, you can tell that they never really had a car on the tracks when the train was coming towards her. I mean, and that's
Of
fine.
course.
Um,
Yeah.
because there's no
It
like,
made a very unusual like Doppler sound when it went past though. Not
mm,
the usual train sound you hear when it goes by.
yes, that's something else you don't have to imagine because there's trains like every 30 minutes outside your window.
Yeah, I know him pretty well.
Yeah, you could probably name like the brands and like the makes of trains. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm not a train nerd.
yeah,
No.
you're like, oh,
I can't compete with those guys. Train nerds, man. They know their shit.
that means it's a Smithton 5,000. I don't know any train
I don't know.
companies.
I could talk about HO scale train models. That's about it.
uh, so yeah, so the big part in the second half of the episode though is that she runs out of gas, and there's a small station up the road a little bit, but it's late at night, and she bangs on the window and says, "Can you help me? My car, run out of gas. I need some gas." And he's like, "It's like midnight. Like, we're closed." And I actually was kind of on this guy's side, but I'm like, you can't just bang in like a shop like window and be like, "Serve me, damn it, serve me," even though it's like 2
I
a.m.
know. But at the same time, like, why aren't there gas stations that are open? People drive at night. This is a
Yeah.
very unusual thing for me to see.
Oh, sure, don't get me wrong. I feel like on a highway or like on long stretches of road like this, there would be 24-hour gas stations. I assume there is.
Always,
Yeah.
almost always, actually. There are some that are closed, but yeah, they tend to be more like in the city or
Yeah,
in
like
town.
if I think about just sort of in my near area, there's several that do close. There's one or two that are 24 hours, and then the rest of them do close at night. But like, there is a couple that are open 24 hours, like that you can always go to.
Yeah, I
Um,
imagine she's driving on like the 80 I-80 or something she said, and I imagine that those gas stations would be open, but that's okay for the sake of the story.
sure. Uh, and then out of nowhere from behind, a sailor appears. He just appears.
Yep.
He just appears, and
Hey, sailor.
he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to San Diego. I'm on leave. I'm going back to my ship." And I'm like, "You're pretty far away from your ship if you're just hitchhiking back."
I know. How much leave does he have?
Because
As
I
much as he
think
needs?
at this point, I think that when we started the episode, we were in Pennsylvania. I think they might be in Virginia at this point because they mentioned Virginia.
No, Virginia's where I am right now. I'm on the East Coast. I think they would be. I think she said eventually Arizona is where she ended up.
Oh, they're a lot closer to California then at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
I
still
don't know
quite
if that's where she picked up the sailor, but I know by the
sure.
end of the episode she was in Arizona.
Yeah, because I was thinking they were still at least somewhere in the middle, if not still verging on east. And I
Yeah.
thought that's a long way from San Diego. Like,
Yeah.
like how long is your leave? How long do you get to travel? Like on your leave? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe things were different back then.
what's leave? What's leave in the '60s? Like a year? So Jesus Christ. So he's like, sure, yeah, you don't have to convince me. I'll take a ride, sure.
Yeah, the
And
boys at home were never gonna believe I got picked up by a woman who looks like a movie star.
yeah, I was feeling kind of creeped out a little bit. He was sitting really close to her. I thought it felt really close to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it was more just because of the camera shot. They had to get them in the shot, so he was sitting like
For
unnaturally
a while,
close.
I thought they were both sitting in the front seat, but I think he's sitting in the back. Oh, maybe he was.
No, he's
Maybe
in
they
the
are
front.
both
No, he's in the
front
front.
seat.
Because one of the things that was weird to me is I've never been in a car that has
Oh, like two benches. So the front seat's all a bench.
yeah, because like cars here all have gear sticks in the middle, like they do like
Yeah.
uh, ha-
Well, I mean, you can still have a car that's like that has a gear shift in the middle, but it's like a bench. I used to have a truck that was like that.
yeah, I've never been in a car like that. The seats at the front are always just two seats. I've never been in anything that's not like that. But so he's unnaturally close, to her, and he's saying things like, "Oh, the boys will never believe that I was picked up by you," and she's like, and she's kind of awkwardly said, "Oh, I'll sign an affidavit." Just
Yeah,
it's
she's
just
joking, just
this is
keeping it humorous. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like,
Although by the end, she's like willing to have sex with him probably if he'd stay.
yeah, it's the '60s, so she never quite implies that as much, but she does imply, "I'll go out on a date with you." She does say that.
Yeah, I think she was implying more. Like,
Mm.
like she's desperate because he's ready to leave since she's kind of cuckoo.
Crazy, and almost crashes them because she's swerving down the road trying to avoid this hitchhiker, or try to hit the hitchhiker even at one
Yeah.
point. Um,
Yeah, I don't know if we've mentioned it, but like nobody else sees the hitchhiker but her,
yeah,
even when he's right in front of them.
and that's established very early on. That's like the second scene establishes that no one else can see him. Um, yeah, I thought it was going to get creepy, and I think if this was made today, I was thinking about the Me Too episode of the new
Hmm.
season, the new show, and I was thinking that this would actually have almost been a better Me Too episode had that been the direction it went in.
Yeah.
Like it may have actually had more to say about it, but obviously that's just not what
I
it's
mean, you're
doing.
not
But
wrong. The whole show is about a woman who's being stalked by a man.
yeah,
And just like even though he's very unassuming and like non-threatening looking, like the threat that she feels where he's always catching up to her, always watching her. And even the sailor guy, like you said, like it's a bit creepy. Like she's just trying to feel safe and
mm.
she has to, basically gamble with this guy that he's going to not be as bad as the person that's following her.
I hate to keep coming because we're making very serious points here. I don't want to belittle these points, but I have to ask another question about the sailor here. So he's on leave. He's like halfway across the country while he's on leave,
Mhm.
and he's traveling back to his ship, and he's wearing his uniform and has no other bags with him of any kind. He's got nothing.
Well, I'm sure he's wearing the uniform so that he can get a lot of thank you for your service handshakes and maybe free beer from the sailors that I know. That's usually the case.
May have been an awkward cut there. I'm hoping it was a neat cut, but it may be an awkward cut because my cat hit the hotkey to stop the recording. So if it was mid sentence, I apologize. Blame Firefly is basically the thing.
Curse you kitties.
I
They're
know.
lucky they're so cute.
So yeah, and then after this, she gets to the phone booth and makes the phone call, finds out she's dead. Uh, and I think part of the reason why I like the episode, but I'm a little bit lukewarm on kind of the ending is I feel like her narration, like she has this little speech she makes before she gets in the car. I don't even remember what she said. I just remember it being, if you're going to compare it to the Jordan Peele narration from the new show, her narration before she gets into the car about like knowing what she is or like accepting death, like it was just fluff.
Okay. Well, I didn't mind it. Like she's been trying to avoid this guy for 6 days or something. And she's in a constant state of like fight or flight and stress. And then all of a sudden she has an answer and and she knows what he is now. And she describes it more of like a sense of calm and acceptance. And, and I kind of like because it wasn't what I was expecting her to react.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. It was the one part of the episode at the end where I kind of felt like, okay, all right, we're doing that. I guess it's like I expected a twist like this so much that it just kind of came off as like, okay, that works. Um,
Yeah,
but it
I
didn't.
mean, I agree. I sort of saw it coming, like I said, but
Yeah, it didn't make me excited. I guess is what I'm saying. But I do like a lot of the scenes in the
hmm.
episode. I like a lot of like the general kind of tension of it. Um, some nice imagery.
Yeah, me too.
There's a train that we talked about earlier. Told you the trains were coming. But yeah, that was basically the episode. Yeah, it's an okay episode. I think it's a good episode. But not necessarily one of the ones that I'd say are like a standout from the season so far.
I would agree with that.
Hmm. Yeah.
It is a very unique episode, I think, because of all the narration from the female lead, and it is. I think it's genuinely pretty good at bringing out the horror of the episode, it's more successful than the other horror episodes that we've had so far, anyway.
Mm. The one shot I really liked was when she's driving through the tunnel and he's at the end of the tunnel. There's like a
Mm.
nice, like, again, very dual. You know, it really reminded
Yeah.
me of that. I almost wonder if Spielberg liked this episode a lot and that was part of the inspiration.
Oh, maybe. I
Yeah.
love that movie.
So no. So at the end of the episode, of course, Serling tells us about the next one. It's called The Fever. There's a slot machine from the era. Looking very. I mean, I recognize it as a slot machine, but it looked prehistoric compared to the ones I've seen from these days. Um,
Do you think you remember the episode?
no, not really.
Yeah, me neither.
I feel like I remember him with this, like Serling with the slot machine, but I don't remember what the episode is.
I don't know.
The description IMDb: a middle-aged man catches a gambling fever from a slot machine that he believes is calling his name.
Ooh. So inanimate object is anthropomorphized, kind of like the scorpion gun, the blue scorpion. We'll see.
I'm upset that you've compared it to an episode of the new one. I'm
I
upset
know.
by this.
Well, I've been doing it this whole time.
I know. I know.
I'll stop. This is
Yeah.
the end. This is the end. I'll stop doing it. I don't want to encourage people to watch it. So.
Yeah. 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 You know, Tara, I think that's you've got something right there.
Fuck you. I can see it. All right.
Oh dear. Oh dear. That has been Class Twilight Zone. So everyone wish. I mean, it'll have been in the past by the time you see this, but wish Tara a nice, safe trip across the country.
See you guys on the other side, whatever that means.
Oh dear. See if I have to put like a really sad, somber video like in a week's time, like.
Oh yeah, it all turns
Unfortunately,
into like this gray tone, black and white.
yeah,
It has the dates at the bottom.
sad
In
piano
memoriam.
music. I'll have old footage of you playing in slow motion in black and white as the date comes up underneath.
Yeah.
Tara disappeared.
Please use Sarah McLachlan.
Oh, I like her actually. Yeah. I will remember you. I'll use that song specifically.
It's so real.
Is she one of yours? Is she Canadian?
I think so.
Yeah, I think she's
Oh,
Canadian.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you also have Celine Dion, so you've got plenty to apologize for. But
You should be grateful for the Queen,
for the
Queen of Canada, Celine
Queen of
Dion.
Canada. Well, James Cameron's the king of the world, so I mean,
Also
he
Canadian.
he also created he outranks her. um. All right. So yeah, that's episode 2000. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at @mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show, how can they do that, Tara?
Oh, come on. This might be my last one.
Oh,
You're gonna make me do
say
it?
that. Oh, okay, fine. I'll be nice. All right. You go to patreon.com/mailfuzztv, where you can support us for as little as $1 per month. You get bonuses and extras and some early stuff, including these Twilight Zones you get a week early. And you can do that. And you can also support us at higher tiers, but either way, you get to help keep the reviews coming and show us your support. You can also do that by, of course, reviewing and rating any other of our podcast feeds on the podcast apps, all that kind of thing. So do all that. And then for promoting other things, in fact, now if I'm promoting something for Patreon specifically, we put a new goal in actually. By the time this goes up a couple of weeks ago, for me and Tim do a horror movie podcast called Streams After Midnight on MailFuzz TV. We're 300 plus episodes in. We have a blast. People seem to like it. But we have a new goal on the Patreon where if we hit 250, we will start doing a monthly stream called Streams After Midnight.
Ooh, very clever and spooky.
Yeah. So that's a goal to work towards. But I will let Tara promote some content though. I mean, and you can pick the other one you're on. I mean, go on, by all means.
Okay, because I'm still super pumped about it. You should check out our Chernobyl review.
Ah, you swerved me. I thought you were going to promote the sci-fi movie podcast, the Atomic Cinema Experiment.
I always promote that on the show.
Yeah, it's relevant though. It's sci-fi. And we do some classic movies on it. So I mean,
Okay, fine. You just promote it.
well, I basically already did. I would say that if you enjoy our Twilight Zone discussions, you might enjoy our episodes on The Day the Earth Stood Still or The Day the Earth Caught Fire, two classic sci-fis, and I'm sure we'll have more classics in the future soon. But yeah. Or our wacky 2-hour review of The Final Countdown, which is a classic.
So bizarre that was our 2-hour one. That is our Dark Knight review. I can't believe it.
Hey, just wait until we actually do 2001.
Watch it be like 20 minutes. We both agree it's a masterpiece.
Nah, it's going to be like 3.5 hours long. There's going to be an intermission. I'll have to get Connor to compose some music for an intermission. That'll be great. But yeah, that is already cancelled. That's been Twilight Zone, so thank you once again. We'll see you next time for episode 17. But keep, watching science fiction, and thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys, in the Twilight Zone.